Namaste, Pranam, Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatva manusantadhami Bhagavad Gite bhavatveshini. O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Partha. The ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters. O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishnavandana. Vasudeva sutam devam kansachanura mardanam devaki paramanandam krishnam vande jagadguru. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. So after that short break, we resume our reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The break was on account of not so good health. I won't say bad health, not so good health. And now we will be taking up reading from the 17th Adhyaya of Śraddhayānvitāḥ Vibhaga Yoga. The 16th Adhyaya that we completed reading during our last reading, where the 16th Adhyaya of Daiva Asura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, where Sri Krishna gave us the description, the great details about the tendencies, the behavior, and the what happens next to the people who are divinely oriented with the Daivi tendencies and those who are demonic in their nature, like the Asuras. Their traits, their behaviors, and what happens to those asuras, those demonic tendency people when they cast off the body and the further journey continues. First of all, Sri Krishna listed down the characters of these divinely oriented and the people with the demonic tendencies, like the divinely oriented people who have that wonderful nature of non-injuring, the love for truthfulness, the freedom from anger, freedom from the dvesha, krodha, dvesha, madamatsara, all those negative tendencies. And they are peace-loving, shantihi, and they are apaishunam. They don't have any kind of crookedness in them. These people who are divinely oriented, they have all the compassion towards all beings, not only just their near and dear ones, not only just that their immediate or extended family, but daya for sarvabhuteshu. They have the compassion, they have sympathy, they have empathy, they have feelings for other beings. They respect all other beings as the beings who have the Lord dwelling in their hearts. With that is the kind of great the respect, these people with the Daivi tendencies, people with the devotional tendencies, of the divine tendencies, they have for all other beings. And that is one of the greatest qualities that Sri Krishna said. Then they have got that wonderful brilliance, teja, because of their austerities, because of their truthfulness, because of their non-conceitedness, because of their non-crookedness. They have got that teja. They have got that power of forgiving others. Kshamashil. They have got that firmness in their character. So this is kind of the some of the traits that Sri Krishna had listed down for people with the divine tendencies. And then people with the demonic tendencies, it is nothing but all the negative traits filled. Although Sri Krishna had listed just 5 or 6 of them to start with, then he had like the traits like dambha, the ostentation, arrogance, hypocrisy, and the anger, self-conceit, and no respect for others, ignorance, dwelling in the darkness, and showing off as if they have got such a wonderful knowledge as it is. It is the blind leading the blind situation there. They are totally ajnanam. And these are the asuri tendencies that Sri Krishna had narrated, and then he had explained how these people, they behave in the society. They behave to kill all those who are in their way, who come in their way, who obstruct their way of enjoying the sensual pleasures. For these asuri tendency people, for these people who are endowed with demonic qualities, demonic traits, they have got only 2 objectives in this life: the lust and greed, the kama and lobha. And when this kama and lobha, they don't meet up with these basic needs of theirs, and then that anger raises its head, the krodha raises its head, and in that moment of anger, in that spur of a moment, they can do anything, and they don't feel shy of even boasting that I have killed so many, I will continue to kill if anyone is obstructing my way of enjoying the sensual pleasures. So that is the kind of life these people they lead. They will come what may. Their intention is just to hoard money, to create wealth, in order to make them able to fulfill those the lustful desires. So Sri Krishna says that is how these unfortunate beings, they live. And then Sri Krishna told us about their end also. What happens when these people, they leave their bodies? Because in the cycle of birth and death, you cannot break this cycle till the time you are liberated. We can never get out of this cycle till the time we are bound by these desires, even if it is a harmless desire, even if it is a desire of doing good to somebody else. We cannot get rid of this cycle. The Jivatman who is dwelling inside us can never be merged in the Paramatman, the ultimate abode. Until such time this, and for the others, for the devoted people, the desires are very simple. The desires are absolutely harmless. But even then, they have to get into this cycle of birth and death. Then if that is the case with the people with devotion, with knowledge, with bhakti and jnana, what happens to these asuri type of people? Sri Krishna says, birth after birth, I just hurl them into the worms of the demonly creatures. They can never get out of it. They can never get out of it till the time they are under this influence of the demonic tendencies. So Sri Krishna says that is the most unfortunate part for these people. But then Sri Krishna says, don't worry about it. You can escape getting into this mode of asura pravritti, the demonic tendencies. You just overlook 3 gates towards this hell. This is a huge hell. This is a huge trap of the Mahamaya, which is alluring the beings to get inside that trap and get caught in that net of becoming asuri. So Sri Krishna says, you don't look at those 3 gates. Which are those 3 gates? Sri Krishna said that kama, krodha and lobha. The lust, anger and greed. You just overlook these 3 gates towards that hell. You will never get into that situation of becoming a person with the demonic tendencies, of getting trapped into that net of lust and greed and anger. So Sri Krishna told us that these are the three gates one ought to avoid in order to get away from the grasp of this Mahamaya, who is always bent upon pulling the creatures in this net. But those who stay away from these three gates of lust, greed and anger, they need not worry at all. And then Sri Krishna also told that go by the word of the scriptures. And what is the word of the scriptures? What your inner mind tells, what your what your buddhi tells. Follow that. The buddhi is always discerning. Buddhi always keeps us telling what is right, what is wrong. It is that viveka, and Sri Krishna says, follow that path of viveka as mentioned in the scriptures. Follow that book of code of conduct which is guided by the scriptures, and you will never fall from this path. You will never fall from this path of liberation, from this path of devotion. So this is how Sri Krishna had ended the 16th adhyaya. They're saying, Tasmat shastram pramanam te karya karya vyavasthitau jnatva śāstravidhimutsṛjya karma kartum miharhasi. That let the scriptures be your authority. Let that viveka guiding you to do and not to do. Let that viveka be the guiding authority. Let the scriptures be the guiding authority of deciding what ought to be done, what ought not to be done. And having known what is said in the ordinance of the scriptures, you should act here. That is what Sri Krishna had finally told Arjuna at the end of the 16th adhyaya of Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga. That was a wonderful teaching by Sri Krishna to cautioning the beings, cautioning the devotees, cautioning the aspirants of which gates to be avoided in order to get onto the Daivi path. And after having heard all these great details from Sri Krishna, now Arjuna has got a little doubt, and the 17th adhyaya of Shraddha Vibhaga Yoga starts with Arjuna's query. Arjuna asks, Arjuna uvāca, ye śāstravidhimutsṛjya yajante śraddhayānvitāḥ teṣāṃ niṣṭhā tu kṛṣṇa sattvamāho rajastamaḥ. Now Arjuna has got this, after Sri Krishna told that go by the scriptures, go by that viveka and never do what is not to be done. Now Arjuna has got this doubt in his mind, and therefore he puts up this question that, O Krishna, ye śāstravidhimutsṛjya, whatever is, what is the nature of the devotion of those? Ye śāstravidhimutsṛjya. Śāstravidhi means as per ordinance. Those who utsṛjya, those who work, perform their actions keeping aside the ordinances of the scriptures. Now Sri Krishna has said follow the scriptures. Now Arjuna has got a doubt. Supposing somebody keeps aside the scriptural injunctions, keeps aside the advice given in the scriptures, keeps aside that hint that the viveka is giving to us. Yajante śraddhayānvitāḥ. Having kept aside the scriptural injunctions, one who performs the religious duties, one who performs the spiritual duties with full Shraddha, with full faith. Now this is the problem that Arjuna is forcing. Supposing one is disregarding the scriptures but performing the duties, performing all the actions with full faith. Teṣāṃ niṣṭhā tu kṛṣṇa sattvamāho rajastamaḥ. So, is it that if they are performing these sacrifices, if they are performing their duties, then how is that Shraddha to be considered? What is going to happen with the Shraddha which begets the sattva rajas tamas? So this is what now, this doubt that Arjuna has got in his mind, that somebody, he is performing everything with total dedication. Now Shraddha, for that matter, the Sanskrit word, there is no equivalent word in English. All the most closer term that can be used, that is normally used, is faith. But Shraddha, I mean, faith is not just the Shraddha. Faith is Vishwas. Shraddha is a dedicated faith with dedication, with sincerity, with wholeness in it. That is the difference between an ordinary faith and Shraddha. The faith which is filled with inherent sincerity. The faith which is filled with dedication towards the ideal. That faith. It is not simply, okay, I have faith in this. That Shraddha is, it comes from within. Nobody can teach you how to develop faith. It comes from within. The Shraddha comes from within. That faith, it comes from within. That dedicated faith of dedication. So Arjuna now says, what is the nature of devotion of those who, keeping aside the scriptural injunctions, they perform their duties with Shraddha? Is that act out of sattva or rajas or tamas? How it differs? Now this is what doubt that Arjuna has come up in his mind, and he asks Sri Krishna about it. Arjuna is obliged to raise this question for obvious reasons. There are people who are very earnest about pursuing the path of self-perfection. There are people who are extremely sincere, extremely dedicated, but they don't follow the scriptural injunctions. All they know is, I have to do good, that's it. All they know is, I have to be sincere in whatever I am doing. All that they know is, I have to dedicate myself in whatever I feel I am doing. They may not be following the book of code of conduct. They may not be following what is given in the Shastras. But they are going to do it with most sincerity, with most humbleness, with true spirit. To that extent, therefore, they are free from lust, anger, and greed. They don't have any of those as the prime objectives. They don't have lustful tendencies. They don't have greedy thoughts of acquiring, of hoarding the wealth. They don't lose their temper if these objects are not met, because these are not the objects at all for them. These are not the aims for them. Their aim is very true. Their aim is not greed or lust. But they are not following the path given by the scriptures. They are definitely not of the demonic types. They are hardcore, sincere people, but not following the ordinances. Their knowledge of scriptural ordinances is very meager, though they are not antipathic to it. It is not that they hate, but they don't have that knowledge. They don't know, how do I worship? Like one devotee once had asked Ma Shraddha after the initiation that, Ma, how should I worship Sri Ramakrishna? How should I offer food? What kind of mantras should I chant and all that? And Ma said, you need not go into all those elaborate things. Just when you're offering food, with wholehearted heart, with the most devout heart, you just pray to Sri Ramakrishna. Come, Master, the food is ready. Please have food. That much of love, that much of affection, that much of sincerity is sufficient enough for the Lord to come and partake of that prasad, and to partake of that food and make it into prasad. So that is what happens. That is what now Arjuna is asking here. People who don't have any kind of theoretical knowledge. They don't know how to chant the mantras, how to chant the hymns and the shlokas, and kind of make the idol a living idol. How to impart the life breath into that idol, as if that they don't know. But they want to do it with all sincerity, with all their humbleness, with all their truthfulness. Now what happens? Circumstances do not permit their acquiring accurate and elaborate knowledge of scriptures. That is Unfortunately, such people, their intentions are all pure, but they don't know the procedure, they don't know the process, they don't know the mantras, they don't know the hymns. They pursue the right path, being prompted by their pure motive. Is their earnestness to be regarded as sattvika, which takes them upward, or rajasika, which keeps them wherever they are, or tamasika, which brings them down? Now this is Arjuna's doubt. With full Shraddha they are performing those actions, not following any scriptural injunctions. Now what is going to be the outcome of that act? Now Sri Krishna in the Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga had told that the actions performed with predominant sattva elevates a person on the path of liberation. Does it happen that does that person end up getting into that sattvika mode and is elevated on the path? Or like the rajasika that Sri Krishna had told, the rajasic person, when the rajas is predominant, that person remains as it is, status quo. From this birth to next birth, the next birth starts from the same position where that person left that body. It starts from the same position, not like the sattvika, where the person gets kind of elevation. And what happens if tamas is predominant? Then the person downfalls. There is a downfall. There is a degradation from the step where the person was, the being was in that birth. There is a drop. There is a drop of level, maybe 1 level, 2 levels, 3 levels. So that is how correlating the teachings of Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga and correlating the teachings of Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga. Now Arjuna is asking this question: what happens to these people? Do they follow the trend of the sattvika mold, or where they get elevated, or they follow the path which is adopted, which is meant for the rajasic people, that it remains status quo and they start their next birth from the same position, or they get into the tamasic mold where in the next birth they start from a step lower. So this is Arjuna's question to Sri Krishna. So Sri Krishna is now going to address in the second shloka that how this entire the Shraddha, the faith filled with dedication and sincerity and earnestness, and the most yearning faith, how that takes a person to the next step during the course of this cycle of birth and death. That we'll see in our next reading next. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Maha. Jai Swamiji.